cannot give you back your homes or restore your dead to life. But perhaps I can give you justice in the name of our king.
Hey everyone, today I want to talk about the legendary family swords of House Targaryen. I was given this idea by Mathieu on my Patreon, and I want to say thanks for the support. There's many ancient artifacts and family heirlooms hidden or lost in the world of Ice and Fire, and for a lot of them, there's an undeniable suspicion that they will become very important to the overall story. Today we will cover a couple of these family treasures. Dark Sister is one of the two known Targaryen Valyrian steel swords, and it has quite a history. Being around since before Aegon's conquest, the sword was in possession of Aegon the Conqueror's sister, Visenya Targaryen. She was also one of Aegon's wives. You know the story of how Aegon conquered Westeros along with his two sisters? Visenya was part of the three, and she carried Dark Sister with her. The sword was passed throughout the Targaryen bloodline for generations, and was last seen in the possession of Brynden Rivers, the blood raven that Bran Stark is trained by. Brynden was a legitimized great bastard of Aegon IV. He eventually became the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, and then of course the Three-Eyed Raven. It is not specified when and where the sword was last seen, only that Brynden Rivers was the last keeper of it. Hopefully it pops up sometime soon, since there are a couple of Targaryens who could be worthy of wielding it. Most likely Dany, since the sword is a bit smaller than a normal blade and more fitting for a woman of Dany's stature. I mean, it's not like she's Brienne or anything. While we are on the subject of Targaryen Valyrian steel swords, we have to talk about Blackfire, the ancestral Targaryen sword wielded by Aegon the Conqueror himself. Much like Dark Sister, Blackfire was wielded to destroy many lords and take over the Seven Kingdoms. Blackfire was passed down to every Targaryen king all the way up until Aegon IV, when he decided to give the blade to his bastard son Daemon, who started the Blackfire branch of the family tree. Daemon Blackfire was the quintessential Targaryen, except that he was a bastard of the dying king Aegon IV. He had strong Valyrian features and was a great swordsman, unlike his legitimate half-brother Daemon Targaryen II. The dying king legitimized Daemon and decided to give the sword to him instead of his heir Daemon. This and other events led to the first Blackfire Rebellion, in which Daemon died, leaving the sword to be taken by his half-brother Aegor Rivers, who was exiled to Essos. He was the last known keeper of the legendary sword, and since it was in Essos at its final known whereabouts, who knows where it could be now. Like I was saying with Daenerys potentially wielding Dark Sister at some point later in the story, Jon Snow could also rightfully claim Blackfire if it were to ever surface. Kind of interesting that there are two lost Targaryen swords somewhere in the world, and also two Targaryens who fit the description of the past keepers of these blades. For example, Daenerys is a sister and obviously a female who fits the woman warrior profile, like Visenya Targaryen. The sword is pretty much designed for a female, and then on the other hand, Blackfire is the Valyrian blade that every Targaryen king has carried up until one king decided his bastard son was more fitting for the right to bear the legendary sword. Jon, who was raised as a bastard and may still technically be a bastard, and I say this because believe it or not, Rhaegar could have married Lyanna sometime during their segregation from everyone, and thus Jon could be a true-born Targaryen. Anyways, Targaryens have been known to take multiple wives. Even Aegon I married both of his sisters. I don't know, it just seems almost poetic how much the two swords' histories correlate with Dany and Jon, but who knows. That's definitely something I want to hear more about in the books. The swords could virtually be anywhere, and since these are just a few of the lost treasures of the world of Ice and Fire, I'm sure they will be talked about and maybe even discovered as more novels are published. And I'm not only talking about A Song of Ice and Fire, I also mean the Tales of Dunk and Egg. There are only 3 books so far, but Martin has plans to write 6 to 12 to complete the series. And interestingly enough, Dunk and Egg is in the timeline when these swords go missing, so there is potential for more clues to be presented. Let me know what you think will happen with the Targaryen family swords, and as I am sure I'm not the first person to mention the connection between the two blades in comparison to Dany and Jon, I would like to know what you think about that idea. To me, it seems very peculiar that Jon and Dany fit so well into the profiles of the past holders of the swords. Anyways, thanks for watching everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.